Hello guys, this is Andrea, also known as AALL86 in the web. Today in this video I'm going to show you how to use my MiniKvm project, which is a project that is designed during free times for controlling remote machine. And no, we are not going to speak about internals of the OS for today. So what is the MiniKvm and what is the problem that it's trying to solve? From when I work, I needed to be able to control some machine remotely, which means directly from their BIOS and not as like a protocol like RDP that are like allow you to connect to a machine, but they need to be the OS. Because like in my daily job, I do debugging, I do kernel OS bugs triaging and so on. And this sometimes require like the machine to be rebooted. It requires like the machine to be lost the control to the machine and so on. So let's start from scratch. From my website, in my blog post, you can see, you can like read all the details about this project. But let's start from the scratch. So my entire KVM works thanks to like a chip called CH9329, which is in the simplest form is this one. It's a simple USB controller that has like 4 pin, 1 TX, 1 RX, 1 5 volt and one grid, and from the other side is an USB. So this chip convert like a serial, customized serial protocol to HID packet, which is like human interface design like standard. In its form you can buy it at ease and it's like only $1, but then you need to buy like even like an USB to serial converter, which allow you to create a cable like this one, where you can see from one side there is the USB-C like port where it need to be connected to the host. When I talk about the host, it's the computer or system that you are using for controlling all the other one. In this case, this laptop for this example. And from the other side, after you do some soldering work, you can have this port. This port is the CH9329 controller connected to the serial interface. So to begin with this like example, let's connect like one side, which is the serial, which is emulate the serial port to the host. And here I have like a USB hub that allow me to insert like different ports. So from one side here, the system immediately recognizes it, and from the other side, in one of the three USB ports that the host has. So it's indifferent which one of these. So I will try this one, for example. Okay. And now we are okay with with the keyboard and mouse. So we need also to intercept the video output from like the target device. So for that, I'm going to use this simple like device. This is a video acquisition. They call it video acquisition card, and basically it has an USB port and like an HDMI port. This HDMI port, by the way, is used for like capturing the video, not for outputting that. So let's take this, connect to the host, and we just miss the HDMI cable. So with a standard HDMI cable like this, we can connect one side from the host to directly to the target in one of its like HDMI free HDMI port. In this case, this system has like a dedicated video card, so I use the video card one output and not the integrated one. And yes, we can switch on the target machine and we are ready. We just need to run the MiniKvm, and let's see how the MiniKvm works now. So here we are. In my OS system, as you can see from the picture, is like ARM64 one. This is to show you that like MiniKvm is completely able to run in any ARM64 system with no problem. So let's go ahead and start the MiniKvm. The first time that the MiniKvm runs, you need to set some environment variables. So at this message, let's reply just yes. And after it like set the variable, it say that like there is no MiniKvm configured. Of course, we need to configure one. So let's go. We do file, settings, and here is the configuration. We can call the KVM, we can give it a name like, I don't know, main PC. Then the port that identifies like a CH9329. Here I suggest you to set 150,200 because it's the speed of like how like the application is able to talk to the CH9329. And before doing this, we need to do a try a connect. The first time it will not work because the chip need to be reset and set. So if we do connect, it will fail and say that it's not like is not a CH9329. And this is by design because the device need to be configured. So at this point, there is a configure button here. Let's configure it. And then like it's asking, would you like to configure the CH9329 controller? And you need to answer yes. And the device say that he has already succeeded in configuring the controller. Perfect, we are validated. Now, as a second step, we need to set the input acquisition device. Here, this laptop has different camera, so it's set as a surface camera. No, we need to put like the capture device, which is this USB 3 capture that you can see here. This guy. So we just need to set it, and we can like do a preview. Now the device is off, so it's black. But we can also like detect the resolution. I suggest to go to Full HD. Even though the controller support like higher resolution, is not really like well advised, because then you need to have even a monitor that is big, but up to you. For this sake of this example, I will set the Full HD. I will, for this video, not set any power setting. We will check how to configure the power setting in another video. At this time, we need just to do OK. The setting is saved, and let's connect now. If we do File, Connect, the KVM it's reset the resides, because like of course it's Full HD, and we see that the window is completely black. It is completely black because the target device is off. So let's try to switch it on. Okay, I switch on the device, and then let's see what happened. Give it a second for like starting the BIOS and everything. And we can see that it's starting from the BIOS, right? So my device is old, so it's taking some time, but we can go to the BIOS, and we can select everything that we want. Here is, for example, my selection is starting Windows. Okay, so the device now is connected, so we can start to play with the KVM. So as you can see here, we are in the main screen. So let's try to log in. I will log in with my local account. I will insert my PIN, and it's starting. So we can see that the device is very responsive, and it's pretty fast. I can see the difference between the host cursor, which is that little like square, which is almost invisible, and the cursor that is like drawn by the target. Anyway, let's try to do some pretty tests here. So first of all, the full screen mode. The full screen mode, this is not, of course, is a window, but you can even go to the full screen mode. If you do view full screen, it goes in the full screen mode, but there is a catch, because there is still the menu and the status bar, which we don't like. So if we do view, we untag status bar, the status bar will disappear, and we untag menu bar, the menu bar will disappear. So it's like to use your target system directly. So let's try to do something. Let's try to run the console. You see, this is the USC window. I say yes because I started in like admin mode. And let's try to do something. Let's try to list the system32 files. You can see it's super fast, and like you can even scroll with your like wheel of your mouse and everything. I wanted to show another good experiment, because here, if you press Ctrl Alt Del, you go put in the security like mode, like the host system and not the target. So for sending Ctrl-Alt there or special like shortcut from the keyboard, you need to use the KVM itself. But first of all, we need to exit from like the full screen. For exiting full screen, you need to do Ctrl-S. You need to use the CTRL-ESC combination. So if you do that, exactly it exits the full screen. We can enable the status bar, and we can also like use the edit like menu and send CTRL plus Alt plus del. If you do that, yes, you see that like the host is still alive, but the target is in secure attention sequence. Anyway, same things also for locking your workstation. WinL like shortcut doesn't work, it works on the host. So here we want to have only the target to be locked. So with edit send WinL, it's basically go to lock. And this is one of the feature of like the KVM. But let's see something more interesting. Let's start to run Notepad here. Of course, like if we do CTRL C and CTRV, since the target system is completely like goes on his own, it has no idea that is connected a KVM on it. We can't copy and paste anything. Here in the example, let's restart another like example here where I wrote something. I wrote like ciao Forza Inter. This is an example of MiniKvm. And let's try to do copy and paste of this text. If I go down and I do edit, paste, there is nothing, because again, the target doesn't know about the KVM. But if I do edit, type clipboard text, magically it's pasting the text for us as if you were like in front with a keyboard and you were typing it. Super easy, super effective, and pretty quick. Anyway, let's test one of the most interesting stuff. Let's go to the firmware of this system. For going to the firmware, I need the shutdown /R/FV, and then let's put time 0. That way it goes directly. The system will restart, and when it restarts, it will basically go to the firmware. And let's see what happens. It shouldn't be too long. It's starting, and here we are in the BIOS, and you guys can say why it's green. That's a nice question. It's like I noticed that some like acquisition card, when there is no driver attached to the target like graphics card, they screw up a little with the color. But anyway, it's not really important, because like here we can see everything, and like we don't have any problem in moving from that. If we go to the full screen, let's see what happens. Again, let's remove the menu bar, and let's remove to even the status bar. It's like that you have your BIOS in front of you. Of course, it's with a green color, but like that depends on the acquisition card. Anyway, let's try to exit and go to the Windows menu. Still in this green like fashion color. So now I exited, and like I have my Windows menu, and I can do like the go to the Windows memory diagnostic tools, or like do advanced option, as I was in front of the computer without any OS running on the target. So if I try with F8 here, I will probably be like receive an angry message from BitLocker, because this is my home computer, but I still use BitLocker, as all of you should do. Anyway, F8, yes, you must enter recovery key for asset BitLocker startup setting. Here I don't have the key, I don't want to type it, but if I open in the target and like I use a notepad for like storing the BitLocker key, I can use the copy and paste for like inserting directly, which is super cool. Anyway, let's restart. Let's do continue here, and like I don't have any BitLocker recovery key, so let's do recovery, and bam, it going to the BitLocker recovery key, which is starting the so-called WinRE, which is used for like recovery operation. And after like the WinRE take the precedence, of course, like it's not green anymore, because it has like a kind of like knowledge of like a basic Windows driver for like the graphics card. Let's try skip here. And here, yes, you can do everything. Troubleshoot, like you want to open a console, let's open a console. Here it's a console, still in green color. But again, that does depend on the MiniKvm. It's the video acquisition card and depends also on your graphic card. Anyway, let's try to continue and boot to Windows 11. It's loading the OS. And now it's not green anymore because the OS has loaded the correct driver. And yes, here we are. Like we are still like at like the login screen. And now I wanted to show you the last feature of the KVM for today, which is like the limit of the FPS. Here we can see that like the screen is pretty fast, but it requires some like CPU usage from the host, because drawing 60 FPS is not like a simple operation. So you can see here that my CPU usage stand on the 30%, which is fine, but we can do better. So if we want to save CPU usage, we can just enable the FPS limit. Here is like super fast, but what happens if I want to limit? Let's do view, limit FPS, and now the FPS like it's like going low, 25 FPS, which is still usable, but you can see that now you can see the difference between this little square and the mouse drove in the target, because it's operating, its refreshing rate is lower. So let's see the CPU usage. CPU usage dropped 30%, and now here I'm registering so like means that there is like another process using the CPU. But in normal situation, the CPU goes down for like from 2 to 10%. Anyway, if we do view untag the limit FPS, the speed will return like as a native 60 frames per second, which is pretty cool. And what else? Nothing. It has like also other like in the preferences other feature that maybe if you don't want to resize the MiniKvm windows every time you connect, you can disable, and you can disable it, put never. Or if you don't want to draw the pointer in the host, that little square that I say, you can disable it. Here you can, let's say that I wanted to disable in full screen. So let's do draw the mouse pointer in the host system as only in only in window mode. And then press OK. But before, here note that there is like tagged the fact that you can allow multi-instance of the application to attach to different MiniKvm. What does it mean? When you have like a different target controlled, as in my lab that I have 4 systems attached to an host, I wanted to use them even in parallel, so I can open different instances of KVM, and this is pretty cool. Anyway, let's do OK now. And then you see that the small window, and let's try to do a zoom if you see that. But let's go to full screen. Let's remove the status bar. Let's go to full screen. And then guess what? In full screen, there is no more, only the target draw the mouse cursors, and no more the host. But as you can see, it's like it's very, very fast. So almost native speed. And you can work like with your device as you have like the target in front of you. And yes, I think that for now is all. What's the goal of this like video? Probably I wanted to like show it how the MiniKvm work, and this setup that I showed is not the real one. I designed the KVM because like I wanted to run in a stable system, which is a host mini PC or like mini motherboard, like the one that I showed I described it in my blog post, which is connected to various different target systems. So the idea is that like this mini PC has like a stable OS and is connected to like 8 target system. As you can see, in this case, this hub is an example because it's like it's my laptop, so I didn't want a big hub, but online you can buy even hub with 8 to 10 like USB port, which allow you to connect 4 to 6 target machine. And my KVM completely support like the fact that you can run them in parallel or like from one host system. In the next video, if you guys are interested, I can show you how to connect the power switch. And yes, makes like the system completely controllable. What else? I think that is all for now. I'm not my electronical skills are not the best, so as you can see the soldering that I did was not the excellent one, but potentially you can even use a 3D printer to create like the box for the CH9329 controller. And yes, that's it. I hope that you guys liked this video, and let me know in case for any information in my in X handle, which is AALL86, or otherwise in my mail, which is info@andrea-allievi.com. It's all for now. Bye.